proceed towards the 7th chapter of Moments, The Last Leaf by O. Henry. Now, this is a wondrous story. You're really going to enjoy it. Stay glued till the end. Sort of a suspense, but really beautiful. Just let's go for it. William Sidney Porter, known by his pen name O. Henry, they changed their names, pen name, was an American short story writer. His stories are known for their surprise endings. Yes, it has a surprise ending. As a young bachelor, Porter led an active social life in Austin. He was known for his wit, storytelling, and musical talents. He played both the guitar and the mandolin. He eloped and married Ethel Esther. The couple participated in several musical and theatre groups. So yeah, they also had an adventurous life, and let's see the story, which is really having a good surprise ending. The Last Leaf is a sentimental story depicting the virtue of human love and sacrifice. Two young artists, Johnsy and Sue, share an apartment. Johnsy contracts pneumonia and she loses hope for life. She says that she will die when the last leaf on the vine outside falls. Mr. Behrman, one of their neighbors, hears about this fancy of Johnsy. He paints a leaf on the wall outside the night it was raining hard to give her hope. He catches cold and dies of pneumonia the next day. Thus, he sacrifices his life to save Johnsy. Well, I did not really sit to explain the entire thing because I wanted you to go through the entire chapter to get the best of it. So let's move and see what is it at length. Sue and Johnsy, two young artists, shared a small flat. The flat was on the 3rd story of an old house. It was on the 3rd floor. Johnsy fell very seriously ill in November. She fell, ill very badly. She had pneumonia. The P is silent. I'm sure you know it. Pneumonia. She would lie in her bed without moving, just gazing out of the window. She was lying and she would only keep looking out of the window. Sue, her friend, became very worried. She was like, what's gone wrong with her? She sent for the doctor. Although he came every day, there was no change in Johnsy's condition. Every day he used to pay them a visit, give medicines, but somehow, there was no change in her health condition. One day the doctor took Sue aside and asked her, is anything worrying Johnsy? Is there something that's bothering this girl? And Sue replied, no. But why do you ask? There's nothing like that. But why are you asking me that? The doctor said, Johnsy, it seems, has made up her mind that she is not going to get well. When there are patients who fall sick, so you have your own determination to live or you want to die. You give up. You just give up from within. You say, I know I'm not going to live. I know I'm not going to get well soon. But then that affects your treatment. That no medicines will work on you if you yourself want to die. But yes, if you have the determination, no, I have to fight this disease and I have to get back on my feet, hale and hearty, then yes, nothing can stop you. Every medicine will work. So it all depends on the determination of the patient. So here, Johnsy's case was the same. She is not going to get well. Why? Because she has made up her mind that I'm not going to get well. If she doesn't want to live, medicines will not help her. No medicine will work. Whichever best medicine you give, if the hope of living is not there, she will not survive. Sue tried her best to make Johnsy take an interest in things around her. She tried to distract her mind. She started talking of the things around her. She started trying to make her feel good. She talked about clothes and fashions, but Johnsy did not respond. She did not react to anything. Johnsy continued to lie still on her bed. There was no movement. Sue brought her drawing board into Johnsy's room and started painting. Now remember, they both are artists. So she brings the drawing board and she starts painting. That maybe she sees and she also starts feeling that I also want to paint, and she recovers. Something might click. To take Johnson's mind off her illness, she whistled while working. So just to distract her, she was enjoying, Sue was showing that, oh, I'm really enjoying, and she used to, that was her work. She was painting and she was whistling. Suddenly, Sue heard Johnsy whisper something. Finally, she heard her talk. She whispered. She didn't even talk. She said it in a very low tone. She quickly rushed to the bed and heard Johnsy counting backwards. She was counting numbers backwards. She was looking out of the window and she was saying 12. After some time, she whispered 11, then 10, then 9, 8, 7. Sue could hear all this. Sue anxiously looked out of the window. She's like, what is wrong? What are you counting backwards? Because her eyes were there outside the window. She saw an old ivy creeper. This is a creeper climbing, that's a creeper. Climbing halfway up the brick wall opposite their window. She could see that creeper there. In the strong wind outside, the creeper was shedding its leaves. So now you see what was the counting? It was the falling of the leaves. What is it, dear? Sue asked. She sings, what are you looking at? What is the matter? 6, whispered Johnsy. They are falling faster now. 3 days ago, there were almost 100 leaves. There are only 5 left now. It is autumn, said Sue, and the leaves will fall. It is autumn, so obviously it's sure to fall. That's the season. When the last leaf falls, I will die, said Johnsy with finality. She says, only 5 leaves are left, and when the last leaf falls, I will breathe my last. I have known this for the last 3 days. Oh, that's nonsense, replied Sue. What have old ivy leaves to do with your getting well? What's wrong with you? What connection does that have with your health? How does that even matter? The doctor is confident that you will get better. Johnsy did not say anything. Sue went and brought her a bowl of soup. She gets her a nice big bowl of soup. I don't want any soup, said Johnsy. I am not hungry. Now there are only 4 leaves left. I want to see the last one fall before it gets dark. Then I will sleep forever. She says, I want to see that last leaf fall and then I shall sleep forever because that's the end of my life too. Sue sat on Johnsy's bed, kissed her and said, you are not going to die. I can't draw the curtain for I need the light. She says, I would have drawn that curtain, but I need the light because I need to paint. I want to finish the painting and get some money for us. She says, if I don't finish the painting, I will not be able to sell it. How will I get the money for us? Please, my dear friend, she begged Johnsy, promise not to look out of the window while I paint. She says, please do me a favor. You stop looking over there. The more you're looking at it, the more sad you're feeling and you've already given up hope. This is not the right thing to do. So please don't look outside while I am painting. All right, said Johnsy, finish your painting soon for I want to see the last leaf fall. She says, okay, if that's the case, I will not look. But then you quickly finish your painting because before that last leaf falls, I want to see it. I'm tired of waiting. Now remember, she has started doing this from 3 days when there were 100 leaves. I have to die, so let me go away peacefully like one of those poor, tired leaves. She says, look, you know what? I'm definitely going to die, so let me go in peace. Just like those leaves are falling, even I will die. Try to sleep, said Sue. I have to paint an old miner. I will call Behrman up to be my model. She says, look, now I have to, paint a miner. A miner is the person who does the mining work, and Behrman over there was one of them. So, he was not one of them, but she wanted to call him up so that, she could paint that model. As a model, he would be there. Sue rushed down. Now, she was getting really panicky to what this girl was doing and those leaves falling. So, she rushed down. Behrman lived on the ground floor. He was a 60-year-old painter. He was a painter and he was old enough. He had a lot of experience in life. His lifelong dream was to paint a masterpiece. He was a painter. He also wanted to paint a nice masterpiece which was work of outstanding artistry, skill or workmanship. He wanted to make some nice, outstanding painting. That was his dream. But that had remained a dream. Now he had reached 60 and he could no longer paint it. Sue poured out her worries to Behrman. She went and told him. She said, see, this is what Johnsy is doing. She is telling like this and I'm really worried about it. She told him how Johnsy was convinced that she would die when the last leaf fell. She said, that's what she's telling me again and again and I'm really worried about the same. Is she stupid? Asked Behrman. How can she be so foolish? I mean, how can you count your breath with the leaf? It has no connection. It doesn't make any sense. She is running a high temperature. She has very high fever, complained Sue. She refuses to eat or drink and that worries me a lot. She says, now I'm getting panicky because she is not even eating and drinking. I will come with you and see Johnsy, Behrman said. He says, don't worry, I shall come with you and talk to her. They tiptoed into the room. They went on their toes so that there is no noise. They walked quietly and carefully with one's heels raised. So they walked on their toes. Johnsy was sleeping. Sue drew the curtains together and they went to the next room. She just drew the curtains and they both went to the next room because Johnsy was fast asleep. She peeped out through the window. There was only one leaf left on the creeper. Now Sue herself also saw that there is only one leaf left. It was raining heavily and an icy cold wind was blowing. It was raining very heavily and there were strong winds blowing. So how do you think that one leaf could survive over there? It seemed as though the leaf would fall any minute now. Any minute that leaf would be gone. Behrman did not say a word. He went back to his room. Now he saw all this. He heard everything. He did not utter a word. He just quietly went back to his room. Johnsy woke up next morning. She got up in the morning and in a very feeble voice, in a very weak voice, lacking physical strength, especially as a result of age or illness. So yes, there was no food and water in her body, so she was weak. In a very feeble voice, she asked Sue to draw the curtains. She said, please draw them open. I want to see outside. Sue was nervous because Sue had seen it in the night that only one leaf was left and I'm sure it's gone because of the strong winds. She drew back the curtains very reluctantly, very hesitatingly, very unwillingly. She didn't want to open it, but she did open it because Johnsy asked her to do it. Sue exclaimed as she looked at the vine creeper, look, there is still one leaf on the creeper. She says, hey, there is still one leaf there and you said till the last leaf I am going to survive. The leaf has not gone, so you're okay. It looks quite green and healthy. In spite of the storm and the fierce winds, it didn't fall. She says, just look at the leaf. It's so fresh, it's so green and healthy. And in spite of these heavy rains and strong winds, that leaf has stayed there. It has not fallen. I heard the wind last night, said Johnsy. I thought it would have fallen. It will surely fall today, then I'll die. Now, she's being so sort of irritating, sort of a pessimist. It's not the right attitude actually. That poor little Sue is trying to encourage her, motivate her in every way, and she is stuck to one thing. The leaf will fall, I will die. That's all she can talk about. You won't die, said Sue energetically. You have to live for your friends. What would happen to me if you die? Johnsy smiled weakly and closed her eyes. She says, why are you talking like that? Whom will I live for? I mean, don't you think I need you? How can you tell that to me? But Johnsy had no strength. She just smiled and she closed her eyes. After every hour or so, she would look out of the window and find the leaf still there. Every hour she looked out, she saw the leaf is there. It seemed to be clinging to the creeper, clinging as in it was holding on to something tightly. That leaf was had a good grip on the creeper. In the evening, there was another storm, but the leaf did not fall. Can you guess it why? In spite of this, those heavy rains and the strong winds, why did the leaf still not fall? Can you give it a thought? Well, if you have, that's great. If not, here it is. After every hour or so, she would look out of the window and find the leaf still there. It seemed to be clinging to the creeper. In the evening, there was another storm, but the leaf did not fall. Johnsy lay for a long time looking at the leaf. Then she called out to Sue, "I have been a bad girl. You have looked after me so lovingly and I have not cooperated with you." She says, you know what, now after looking at that leaf, continuously every hour, she sees that the leaf has not even fallen in spite of those heavy rains. She then realized her mistake. She realized the foolishness that she was doing. And so she calls out to Sue and she tells her, you know what, you have taken such good care of me. It's me who has not cooperated with you. I have not, you have requested me so many times, but it was me who did not do it. I have been depressed and gloomy. I have been causing and feeling depression or despondency. It's really bad. I have been totally wrong. The last leaf has shown me how wicked I have been. I have been so very stupid. I have realized that it is a sin to want to die. Sue hugged Johnsy. This is the line we should all remember. It is a sin to want to die. These cases of suicide, they will never happen and they should never happen because it is the biggest sin on earth. Then she gave her lots of hot soup and a mirror. Johnsy combed her hair and smiled brightly. Now she got, she felt good, she felt motivated, and so now she was ready to eat, drink, and of course, be her best, look her best. In the afternoon, the doctor came. After examining his patient, he told Sue, Johnsy now has the will to live. She wants to live now. I am confident she'll recover soon. Very fast, she will be absolutely all right. Now, I must go downstairs and see Behrman. Now, even the doctor says he wants to go and see Behrman. Why? He is also suffering from pneumonia, but I am afraid there is no hope for him. He says, I'm scared. I doubt he will survive. He will not survive the pneumonia. The next morning, Sue came and sat on Johnsy's bed. Taking Johnsy's hand in hers, she said, I have something to tell you. Mr. Behrman died of pneumonia this morning. He was ill for only 2 days. 2 days he developed pneumonia. Remember, he was 60 years old. So he could not recover. He was not as young as Johnsy. The first day, the janitor found him on his bed. Janitor is who? The person whose job is to look after a building. So he found him on his bed. His clothes and shoes were wet and he was shivering. He had been out in that stormy night. Can you get some connection with what I just read? The masterpiece and Johnsy's last leaf. Can you connect? Can you put those dots together? Yes. Then they found a ladder and a lantern still lighted lying near his bed. There were also some brushes and green and yellow paints, leaves. Green and yellow paints on the floor near the ladder. Why the ladder? The creeper was right on top. Johnsy dear, said Sue, look out of the window. Look at that ivy leaf. Haven't you wondered why it doesn't flutter when the wind blows? Why doesn't it move when the wind blows? That's Behrman's masterpiece. He painted it the night the last leaf fell. That's his masterpiece. Behrman's dream had come true. He wanted to make a masterpiece before he died, and he did it. He did it along with the love and sacrifice for Johnsy. He saved Johnsy's life because Johnsy had that stupid thing in her head that when the last leaf will fall, I will die. So to get that thing off, the last leaf had already fallen. It was very obvious. But he went and painted that leaf so beautifully, so naturally that she did not even realize that the leaf is a painting. It is not a real leaf. That is the reason it was a masterpiece. That's called a masterpiece. Got it? Yes. And so, sometimes when you sacrifice something precious, you are not really losing it. You are just passing it on to someone else. Well said by Mitch Albom. He says, when you are sacrificing something precious, it's not that you are losing it. Behrman's life, he sacrificed his life, but he did not lose it. That life was there. You are just passing it on to someone else. It was with Jauncey. Jauncey went fine because of that painting. Otherwise, no idea if she would have ever survived. So yes, my dear friends, make sure there is a lot of love in your heart. Keep making sacrifices. You may never know how these good deeds bounce back to you. Yes, they come back to you with interest, but make sure you do it selflessly. For such more values, keep watching and keep learning.